The morning after the battle, the Virexi village was quiet. The fires burned low and the air smelled of wet earth and smoke. Dae-hyun sat near the hot spring, the warm water soothing his tired muscles. Yura was beside him, her strong body relaxed, but alert. The tribe had won, but the cost was clear. Some warriors had been hurt, and a few would never walk again. Still, the spirit of the Virexi was strong. Matron Hae-rin approached the pair. Her silver horns gleamed in the soft light. She carried a small wooden box decorated with carvings of stars and beasts. "Dae-hyun," she said, her voice calm but powerful. "You have passed every trial. You fought for us, for our home." Dae-hyun nodded. "I did what I could. You saved me first." The matron smiled. "Now you must take the final step, the ceremony of the bond." Yura's eyes softened. "This is our oldest tradition. The mate's heart and the tribe join. You must agree." Dae-hyun looked at Yura, then at the tribe gathering around the spring. The warm steam rose like a sacred smoke. "I agree," he said quietly. "I want to be part of this family." The tribe cheered softly, voices full of hope and respect. The ceremony was simple but powerful. Yura led Dae-hyun into the hot spring. The water was warm and smelled of herbs. The tribe sang low songs, their voices deep and wild. Matron Hae-rin brought out 2 small stones, one green like the serpent stone, the other clear like water. "You will each hold one," she explained. "The stones bind your spirits." Dae-hyun took the green stone, feeling its smooth surface. Yura took the clear one. They held the stones tight. Yura looked into Dae-hyun's eyes. "This bond is more than strength," she said. "It is trust, respect, life." Dae-hyun nodded. "I understand." The matron poured water over their hands, washing the stones together. The water glowed faintly. "You are joined," Matron Hae-rin said. "The tribe welcomes you." After the ceremony, the village celebrated. Dae-hyun and Yura danced with the tribe, their bodies moving to the rhythm of drums and chants. For the first time since he crashed on this strange world, Dae-hyun felt peace. He was no longer a lost stranger. He was a Virexi, a mate, a warrior, a family member. Days later, Dae-hyun helped rebuild the village. He worked with the tribe to make new traps, stronger homes, and better defenses. Yura was by his side, teaching him how to move silently through the jungle and how to read the signs of the land. One afternoon, as the sun set behind the mountains, Yura spoke softly. "Do you miss Earth?" she asked. Dae-hyun looked up at the orange sky. "Sometimes, but here I have a new home." Yura smiled. "And I have my mate." He reached for her hand. "Together we are stronger." The bond between them grew every day. Dae-hyun learned the language fully, shared stories of Earth, and listened to the ancient tales of the Virexi. The tribe accepted him, not just as a mate to Yura, but as a brother, a friend, and a protector. One evening, Matron Hae-rin took Dae-hyun aside. "There is a new threat," she said quietly. "Far beyond the jungle, other humans watch this world. They do not understand." Dae-hyun's eyes darkened. "We will be ready." He knew his journey was not over. But now he had strength, love, and family. No matter what came next, he would face it with the Virexi by his side. As night fell, Dae-hyun and Yura stood by the hot spring. The stars shone above them, bright and endless. He felt Yura's hand in his. "This is home," she said. "Yes," Dae-hyun whispered. "Home." The hot spring bubbled softly, a warm promise under the alien sky. The stars were bright in the night sky, but the mood in the Virexi village was tense. Dae-hyun stood near the fire pit, watching the tribe prepare for battle. Yura was at his side, her fur bristling with focus. "Are you ready?" she asked quietly. Dae-hyun nodded, though his heart beat fast. This was no longer a test or trial. It was survival. The scouts had seen the ships far off the coast. The pirates were coming. They were known for violence and greed. They would not leave the Virexi alone. Dae-hyun studied the crude metal weapons the tribe carried, spears tipped with sharp stones, clubs wrapped in leather. He pulled out a small device from his bag, a compact tool he had made from his ship's parts. "This can help," he said, showing Yura a small glowing cube. "It makes traps stronger and quieter." Yura's eyes widened. "Teach us." For the next 2 days, Dae-hyun and the warriors worked together. They dug pits covered with leaves and vines, placed sharp stakes at the bottom. They set tripwires connected to small devices that made loud noises and flashes of light when triggered. The Virexi learned quickly, their strong hands and sharp minds perfect for the work. Yura watched Dae-hyun with growing respect. "You are not just a stranger," she said. "You are our protector." The day the pirates arrived, the sky was heavy with clouds. Rain threatened, making the jungle damp and slippery. From the ridge, Dae-hyun could see their ships, a dozen black vessels cutting through the water like sharks. The pirates shouted and laughed as they stepped onto the shore, armed with metal, guns and swords. But the Virexi were ready. The first attack came suddenly. The pirates ran into the jungle only to fall into hidden pits. Sharp stakes pierced boots and legs. Some triggered the traps, causing bright flashes and loud booms that scared the attackers. The Virexi warriors, led by Yura and Borum, moved quickly and silently through the trees, striking from the shadows. Dae-hyun used a handheld energy pulse device he had built, shooting bursts of light that disoriented the pirates. The battle was fierce. One pirate fired a gun, the loud crack echoing through the forest. A bullet whizzed past Dae-hyun's ear. He dove behind a tree. His heart pounded. Yura was near, throwing her spear with deadly accuracy. Borum charged, roaring like a beast, knocking a pirate to the ground. Dae-hyun felt fear, but also something new, strength. This was not his world, but he was fighting to save it. The pirates regrouped, calling for reinforcements. More ships appeared on the horizon. Dae-hyun knew they could not win by force alone. He shouted to Yura, "We need a plan, something they don't expect." Yura nodded. "Lead me." Together they climbed to a high cliff overlooking the beach. Dae-hyun pulled out a small drone from his pack and launched it over the water. The drone's camera showed the pirates' ships, weapons, and numbers. "They have many guns," Dae-hyun said, "but their ships are slow and heavy." Yura thought for a moment. "The sea is our ally." Dae-hyun and Yura worked quickly, using their knowledge of the jungle and technology. They set traps along the shore, nets that would catch the ships, anchors, vines tied to large rocks that could pull them into shallow waters. The pirates landed again, this time more cautious. The Virexi warriors attacked with arrows and spears, driving the pirates back toward the water. Suddenly, the vines tightened. Several ships were stuck fast, unable to move. The pirates panicked. Dae-hyun used his device to send a loud, piercing signal that confused their communication. The pirates' coordination broke down. In the chaos, Dae-hyun and Yura led a small group to the largest ship. They climbed aboard, fighting pirate guards with quick strikes and teamwork. Dae-hyun hacked the ship's controls, disabling engines and locking doors. Yura roared, her horns shining in the moonlight as she fought beside him. After hours of battle, the pirates were defeated or captured. The Virexi cheered, their voices echoing through the jungle. Matron Hyrin approached Dae-hyun, smiling with pride. "You have saved us," she said, "not just with strength, but with your mind." Dae-hyun smiled back, exhausted but happy. That night, the tribe gathered around the fire. They sang songs of victory and honored the fallen. Yura sat beside Dae-hyun, her fur soft in the firelight. "You are more than a mate," she said. "You are family." Dae-hyun looked at her, feeling warmth and belonging. He knew the trials were not over. The future held new challenges, but together they would face them. The sun was high and hot over the Virexi village when Dae-hyun woke. His body ached from the previous day's fight with Borum. Every muscle was sore, and small cuts on his arms stung. But his spirit was alive, stronger than before. Yura was already outside, practicing with her spear near the village edge. Her sharp eyes caught his and she smiled. "Today is harder," she said. "You must prove yourself again." Daehyun nodded. He knew the fight was only the start. The Virexi had many ways to test a stranger who wanted to join their tribe. He quickly dressed and followed Yura to the center of the village. Matron Hae-rin stood by a large fire pit surrounded by other elders. They were watching Daehyun carefully. "Today," Matron Hae-rin said, "you will face the trial of the swamp." Daehyun's heart skipped. "Swamp? What is that?" "A place of danger," Yura answered. "Full of beasts and poison. You must enter, find the serpent stone and bring it back." "The serpent stone?" Daehyun asked. "A sacred gem in the deep swamp," Yura explained. "It shows courage and wisdom." The swamp was a thick, wet jungle. The ground was soft and muddy, full of strange plants with sharp thorns and bright colors. Strange noises echoed from the water. Frogs croaked, bugs buzzed. Somewhere a large animal growled. Daehyun took a deep breath and stepped carefully into the mud. The water was cold and sticky. His boots sucked with every step. Branches scraped his arms. He moved slowly, trying to remember the stories Yura had told him. Suddenly a snake slipped near his feet. He froze. The snake was long and black with red eyes. It hissed and raised its head. Daehyun's hand went to his knife, but then he remembered Yura's words. Not all danger needs fighting. Sometimes patience wins. He stayed still. The snake watched him for a moment, then slid away into the water. Daehyun exhaled slowly and moved forward. The deeper he went, the thicker the trees grew. Strange flowers glowed softly in the dim light. The air smelled wet and earthy. After what felt like hours, he found a small pool surrounded by rocks. In the middle of the water sat a smooth green stone. It pulsed faintly with light. The serpent stone. Daehyun reached for it, but before his fingers touched the gem, water rippled. A huge swamp serpent rose from the pool. Its scales shimmered, dark green. Its eyes were sharp and cold. The beast opened its mouth, showing many sharp teeth. Daehyun held his knife ready, but he knew this was a fight unlike any he had fought before. The serpent circled him slowly. Daehyun stayed calm. He remembered Yura's lessons: move with the flow, don't attack blindly. The serpent lunged. Daehyun dodged and rolled, grabbing a thick branch. He swung at the beast's head. The serpent hissed and backed off. For minutes, they danced around the pool, Daehyun striking and dodging, the serpent attacking and defending. Then the serpent paused and lowered its head. It looked at Daehyun with something like respect. Daehyun slowly reached into the water and picked up the serpent stone. When he returned to the village, the tribe gathered around with quiet awe. Matron Hae-rin took the stone and held it to the firelight. It glowed bright. "You have courage and wisdom," she said. "The swamp accepted you." Daehyun felt pride rise inside him. He had passed another trial. Yura came close and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You are not just a man. You are becoming Virexi." But the trials were not over. That night, Yura took Daehyun to the dream cavern again. The glowing crystals cast strange shadows on the walls. "This trial is different," she said. "You face your mind, your fears, your past." Daehyun lay down on the stone slab. His eyes closed. Suddenly, he was inside a vision. He saw his family, back home on Earth, his younger sister smiling, his mother cooking rice. But then the images changed. His sister was crying. His mother was sick. His home was burning. Daehyun felt fear and guilt. He wanted to help them but was trapped here on this alien world. Then he saw Yura's face. Strong, kind, and patient. A voice echoed in his mind. "You are not alone." Daehyun opened his eyes. The vision faded. Yura smiled. "You are brave. Your heart is strong." The next day was for physical strength. Matron Hae-rin led Daehyun to a rocky clearing where 2 large swamp serpents were chained. "To finish this trial, you must wrestle and control the beasts," she said. "Daehyun, looked at the snakes. They hissed and moved, muscles rippling. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. The fight was hard. The serpents were fast and strong. Dae-hyun used all his strength and skill to hold them back. Sweat ran down his face. His muscles burned. But he didn't give up. Finally, he pinned one serpent to the ground. The other stopped fighting. Matron Hayrin nodded. "You are worthy." Days turned into weeks. Dae-hyun learned more about the Verexi ways, how they hunted, how they cared for their young, and how they respected the land. He and Yura grew closer. She taught him their language, their stories, and their songs. One evening, Yura took Dae-hyun to a quiet place near the hot spring. "The tribe watches you," she said softly. "They see the human who fights like a beast and thinks like a god." Dae-hyun smiled. "I am still learning." Yura touched his face gently. "You are not just learning. You are becoming part of us." Her eyes held something deep. Hope, trust, and something more. Dae-hyun looked at her and felt warmth spread inside. For the first time, he felt like he belonged. But the world outside the village was dangerous. One night, scouts reported ships near the coast, pirates searching for treasure and survivors. Dae-hyun's heart pounded. He had to protect Yura and her tribe. He gathered the warriors and shared plans, using traps, ambushes, and his knowledge of technology. The Verexi listened, curious and eager. Together, they prepared to fight. That night, under the stars, Yura whispered, "The greatest trial is still ahead." Dae-hyun nodded. He was ready. The morning sun peeked through the thick leaves, casting warm light over the steaming hot spring. Dae-hyun woke slowly, feeling the soft moss beneath him and the gentle warmth of the spring nearby. Yura was already awake, standing at the edge of the pool, her eyes sharp and calm. "Good morning," Dae-hyun said softly. Yura nodded but didn't answer. Instead, she began to gather things from around. A bundle of green leaves, some small fruits, and a thick stick. Dae-hyun watched quietly, still feeling weak but curious. "Where are we?" he asked after a moment. Yura pointed toward a high ridge. "Tribe lives there. Many like me. Horns, fur, strong, proud." Dae-hyun looked up. Far above the valley, he saw smoke rising from the trees. A sign of life. A home. He stood, feeling the soreness in his muscles. "Can you take me there?" Yura smiled faintly. "You will meet them. They want to see." Dae-hyun's heart beat faster. What kind of people or creatures would live here? Friendly or dangerous, he didn't know. The walk to the ridge was slow but steady. Yura moved easily, her strong legs stepping over rocks and roots without effort. Dae-hyun struggled to keep up, his body still weak from the crash. After an hour, they reached the edge of a large clearing. In the center was a village made of wood and stone. Fires burned in clay pits. Voices rose in a strange mix of sounds, grunts, growls, and sharp clicks. Dae-hyun swallowed. The people, or beasts, were watching him. Yura stepped forward, raising her spear high. "I bring one from the sky, a mate. He is chosen by the spring." A tall, broad woman with silver horns and blue fur stepped out from the crowd. She looked at Dae-hyun with eyes like ice. "I am Matron Hayrin," she said in a deep voice. "Why do you bring this human before us, Yura?" "He fell. He is hurt. The spring chose him. I claim him." Matron Hayrin stared at Dae-hyun. "You are small, weak, but you survived the fall. That is rare." "Is he truly a mate?" another voice asked. A man, smaller than Yura but fierce, stepped forward. "The spring knows," Yura said again. Dae-hyun felt their eyes on him, judging, curious, suspicious. Matron Hayrin approached him. "You speak our words?" "Yes," Dae-hyun said, holding up his translator. "I understand some. I am learning." She looked at the device, then back at him. "Strange tools." "From my ship," he explained. "I am an engineer." "Engineer?" she repeated, her brow furrowing. Yes, I fix machines, I build things. A few of the tribe members whispered to each other. The word machine was new and exciting. Yura guided Dae-hyun into the village. The air smelled of smoke and herbs. Children played with wooden toys, and elders sat by the fire telling stories with loud gestures and growls. The tribe was unlike anything Dae-hyun had seen. Their skin was covered with thick fur, gray, brown, white. Their horns curled or pointed in many shapes. They were strong and wild, but their eyes held kindness. One woman with soft yellow fur approached. She smiled and touched Dae-hyun's arm gently. "I am Sora," she said. "You are brave to come here." Dae-hyun smiled back. "Thank you." Over the next hours, Yura and Matron Hae-rin explained the tribe's ways. "We are Virexi," Matron Hae-rin said proudly. "Our people live by strength, honor, and the old laws." Yura added, "Males are rare, weak. You are different." Dae-hyun nodded. "Humans are different. We use minds more than muscles." The tribe looked confused but interested. Matron Hae-rin said, "If you want to stay, you must prove yourself. The mating pool is only the first test." "What tests?" Dae-hyun asked. "There are trials, to show courage, wisdom, strength. Only then will the tribe accept you." That night, Yura took Dae-hyun to a large stone chamber under the village. The walls glowed with soft blue light from strange crystals. "This is the dream cavern," Yura said. "You rest here. Your mind will face challenges." Dae-hyun lay down on the smooth stone. He closed his eyes. Images filled his mind. Wild, beasts rushing rivers, burning forests. He felt fear, sadness, anger, but also hope and strength. When he woke, Yura was there, watching. "You passed the first trial," she said softly. "Your spirit is strong." Dae-hyun smiled weakly. "I want to learn more." Days passed. Dae-hyun trained with Yura and other tribe members. He wrestled swamp serpents, big snakes that lived in the jungle swamps, and learned to move quietly in the forest. Each time the tribe watched him. Some grunted approval, others whispered doubts. One evening, Matron Hae-rin called him to the center of the village. "You have done well," she said, "but the greatest test is still ahead." Dae-hyun's heart raced. "The trial of the horns," she explained. "You will face the strongest Virexi male. If you can stand with him, you are one of us." The strongest male stepped forward. His name was Borum, large and fierce, with dark horns and eyes full of fire. Dae-hyun nodded. "I'm ready." The next morning, the tribe gathered around a clearing. The sun beat down. Borum and Dae-hyun faced each other. The fight was not just strength, it was skill, will, and heart. Borum charged. Dae-hyun dodged and blocked. The crowd roared. Minutes passed. Both men were tired, but neither gave up. Finally, Borum stopped and smiled. "You are strong," he said. "You belong here." The tribe cheered. Yura came to Dae-hyun's side. "You make us proud." That night, under the stars, Yura spoke quietly. "The odd mating pool chose you," she said. "Now you have chosen us." Dae-hyun looked into her eyes. For the first time he felt he was not alone. This alien world was strange and wild. But maybe, just maybe, it could be home. The stars outside the window were still. Too still. Private First Class Dae-hyun stared at the blinking control panel. Red lights flashed. Warning beeps screamed in his ears. His spaceship, Scout Unit 27 Alpha, was spinning out of control. Sparks flew above him as a circuit exploded. He reached out to grab the joystick, but it was no use. The ship was falling too fast. A blue and green planet grew larger and larger in front of him. "This is bad," he whispered. The ship shook like a beast in pain. Metal groaned. The front screen cracked. Dae-hyun had been trained for many things: combat, first aid, alien languages, but not this, not crashing on an unknown world. He grabbed the emergency straps and held tight. With a roar like thunder, the ship broke through the planet's atmosphere. The heat made everything glow red. The desert landscape below was moving fast. Trees, mountains, steam vents. Then boom, everything went dark. When he opened his eyes, everything hurt. His arms, his legs, his head, but he was alive. He unbuckled himself and crawled out of the broken cockpit. Smoke rose from the cracked engine. The air outside was thick and warm. Strange trees with purple leaves moved gently in the wind. Insects buzzed. Dae-hyun coughed. He checked his gear. His emergency pack was still there. His translator chip was blinking green. Good. He had oxygen, a small knife, a water filter, and a flare gun. Not much, but enough to survive a few days if he stayed smart. Then he heard it. A sound. A growl. Dae-hyun turned quickly. Behind a group of rocks, something was watching him. He didn't move. His heart beat faster. The creature stepped forward. At first he thought it was a large animal. It had dark brown fur, long ears, and two horns that curved back from its head. But then he saw its eyes. Sharp, intelligent, curious. It stood tall, taller than him. Its body was muscular, strong, shaped like a woman's. A very tall, very powerful woman. She had hands, fingers, feet, not claws, not paws. It wasn't just a beast. It was someone. She looked at him with interest, tilted her head, and said something. He couldn't understand the words. His translator took a few seconds, then a soft, clear voice spoke in his ear. Are you a mate? Dae-hyun blinked. What? The alien woman walked closer. Her fur was thick but clean. Her horns were polished. She wore a cloth belt with tools. She carried a spear, but she didn't raise it. You fell from the sky, she said. I watched it. Firebird. I followed it. I find you. You are not beast. You are man. He nodded slowly. Yes, I'm human. I come from the stars. I had an accident. She looked confused at first, but smiled after a moment. You are lost. Yes, he said. Very lost. She reached out, touched his arm, then looked him up and down. Small, soft, but maybe strong inside. Dae-hyun stepped back, unsure. I don't want trouble. No trouble, she said. You will come with me. What? She stepped forward, gently took his hand and pointed to the hills beyond the crash site. Hot spring, she said. Healing water. You are hurt. You come. He hesitated. She was bigger, stronger, and probably faster. If she wanted to harm him, she already could have. But she hadn't. Okay, he said quietly. The journey through the forest was slow. Dae-hyun limped a little, but the alien woman, who finally gave her name as Yura, walked patiently beside him. She didn't speak much. When she did, it was simple. This tree has fruit. Eat. This bug is poison. Do not touch. I will carry you if you fall. He refused that last one. His pride wouldn't allow it. Finally, they reached a small mountain valley. Steam rose from the rocks. A clear, wide pool bubbled softly in the center. It smelled of minerals, but not in a bad way. The air was warm and calm. A hot spring, Dae-hyun said. Yura nodded. Mating pool. He choked on his breath. What? She looked at him, very calm. This place is sacred. Only for mates. It heals wounds. It binds hearts. Dae-hyun backed up slightly. I'm not looking to be anyone's mate. Yura tilted her head. You came from the stars. You fall here. The gods chose. Not me. Not you. Pool will test. I just want to survive, he said. Yura knelt by the water and splashed it on her face. Then come. Let the spring help. Your wounds are not small. He looked at his arm. It was bleeding. His leg hurt too. The translator didn't seem to lie. She was serious about the healing part. Maybe it was just a local legend. Or maybe the pool really had something in it. He didn't have many options. He stepped forward. The water was hot, but not too hot. His legs slid in first, then his waist, then his chest. Yura was already waist-deep beside him. Her fur shimmered in the steam. Dae-hyun sighed. The pain in his leg eased. The cut on his arm tingled. He leaned back, This is nice. Yura watched him. The spring knows. Knows what? If you are worthy. He closed his eyes. He didn't want to think about that now. He just wanted rest, warmth, safety. But deep down, he wondered, what did she mean by worthy? Night fell. The stars above the hot spring looked different from the ones he knew. Alien, distant, but also beautiful. Yura sat across from him, silent but watchful. She looked less like a beast now, more like a guardian, or maybe a protector. He wasn't sure what tomorrow would bring, but for now the pain was gone. The fear had faded. The water held him like a soft bed. Maybe this wasn't such a bad planet after all. But then Yura stood and walked closer. You stay with me tonight, she said. Daehyun opened one eye. Why? She smiled, showing strong white teeth. Because I say so. He didn't argue. Not yet.